force that and to deal with bottlenecks within national grids. So 13 existing and planned interconnectors altogether, among which 15 are existing and 4 committed and some under construction projects. 5 years, Ethiopia, Kenya, high voltage DC 500 kV line in 2023. This was the recommendation of the EAPP master plan by looking at the entire EAPP region. It's a line with 2,000 megawatt transfer capacity. The Tanzania-Zambia, which is with SAP, and the Ethiopia-Djibouti, another line, second line. We already have an existing interconnector and trade. And close to 2,700 megawatt, with commissioning of Tanzania, Kenya, now 4,700. The lines indicated here. So by 2030, we expect to have close to 50,000 megawatt cross border, close to 3.2 terawatt hour was traded through the interconnector capacity. The number I mentioned with some say 80%, 85% availability, and considering internal bottlenecks.
And most probably because the Middle East region is rich with solar. They are moving towards building huge solar PV plants. So you will have extra electricity from the sun during some peak hours, and this will make it necessary for all of these governments to develop the dynamic tariff and the algorithms in order to do the forecasting and to manage the demand and the supplies together. And above all of that, the seventh layer is cybersecurity. So it's complicated, it will take time, and most of the countries in the Middle East will reach that at one point. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Samir. I think it's very interesting to mention. So the AI has many other contributions in terms of improving the efficiency of large scale, for example, solar plants, to improve the grid management when we have a complex input from different energy sources, as well as the forecasting now is getting more and more interesting in terms of having near real-time information about energy production. Since now, when we have a large concentration of renewable energy to the grid, the concern becomes more the variability in the production, not the variability in demand.
Private investors. So this is one of, let's say, regulatory tasks that need to be taken into account, and the way how to handle it always comes to the use case and the technology, and the only way how to manage it successfully is basically digitalization. So this is not just a need, it is a must. So in order to circumvent this issue of introduction of the renewables who are changing the power flows and everything for the configuration of the existing power grid, this is, let's say, first step. And another one that we see also from, let's say, vendor perspective is the equipment, which is now, let's say, at the end of its first phase of investment for the past 40 years. So now everything is being renewed from the substations and the electrification process that started in the 60s. Now we have an entire new range of the technologies and the need to reinvest and revitalize, especially transformers. So then, again, there is a need to digitalize these assets to see when each of those will be taken into account and be refurbished or replaced with a new one.
Точно детално са инвестиции. Предвидени са 110 000 метри квадратни, нека трябва да бъдат енергийски импликации. Както ще кажете, това наистина има финансови импликации. Međutim, ние разговаряме с много финансови институции. За първ път имаме и французската развойна банка, италианската развойна банка, които имаме отлична сработка. Които се надяваме да конечно може да се почне да користи. Свисни сме за импликациите, međutim, това е за
up to around 12%. And solar and wind are just there around 10% when compared to the cloud. But when you take the recent installed capacity, we are gradually moving. There's a huge number of new technologies technology systems of the member states are more restricted renewable energy as compared to other forms of
efficiency, clean energy, and work-based transformation. I'm sorry I was not able to go in person, but I'm very glad to be able to participate virtually. At the center of a just transition. And this is fundamental because also just transition projects might have significant environmental and human rights impacts, including increasing climate emissions, destroying ecosystems, and increasing contamination. Projects that are already having impacts on our coal just transitions include hydropower projects and solar and wind energy projects as well. Ecosystems and biodiversity, non-toxic environments, healthy and sustainable produced food, and safe and sufficient water. And procedural elements include access to information, public participation, and access to justice and remedy. So all of these elements, interdependent and intersecting, include and define the content of the human right to a healthy environment. And this is why it's very important to prevent these impacts.
Trainer programs for different types of stakeholders. It's not very, easy sometimes to explain these complex projects. And the last but not least is the question of communication. How we communicate and who is our target audience. Try to understand it from the position of commercial banker. Financing what? What am I supposed to do? Who is the client? Where is the process? But Central Asia, if we look some figures, I recently found a report that the total portfolio of GCF, for example, for Central Asia is about $600 million. Compared with the total portfolio of GCF, $13 billion. It's less than 4%.
And I know that Georgia is involved in very ambitious connectivity projects, and if you could tell us a little bit more on how Georgia positions itself in the region and what are your vision for the connectivity?
Relevant directives and regulations into our national legislation, and the law which has been elaborated and adopted in 2019, it's one of the mother laws of in the energy sector of Georgia. It's called the law on energy and water supply, which said that cross-border connectivity should be developed, and it should be a transmission system operator and some energy-related companies who should start the elaboration of the relevant plans and relevant strategies and projects to be implemented within the in the scope of the development of the relevant strategies, for instance, based on which the country will start the decarbonization goals achievements and other commitments in which we in Georgia's project. So that's the regional project. We cooperate a lot with the neighboring countries, starting from Azerbaijan to Romania and Hungary. And it should also be mentioned that we have already established a joint venture company in